This week, what's the deal with the Trump economy? Depending on your vantage point, this could be a strong economic landscape or an economic climate on the cusp of collapse. But what is the data telling us? Well, not anything clear and concrete. Let's examine the holy trinity of data: growth, inflation, and employment. First, the US economy rebounded in the second quarter, advancing 3% in the April to June period. This was up from the 0.5% contraction observed in the first quarter and better than the consensus estimate of 2.4%. The problem with the latest GDP report is that the headline offered a starkly different picture than underneath the hood. The increase was fueled largely by a collapse in imports, growth in consumer spending, and a modest jump in government outlays, mostly at the state and local level. But the main ones that matter, primarily private and fixed investment, private inventories, and export, did not register substantial gains. Not good. Second, inflation has been holding steady. Yes, the annual inflation rate rose to 2.7% in June from 2.4% in the Consumer Price Index. However, on a monthly basis, core inflation, which removes the volatile energy and food categories, edged up at a lower than expected pace of 0.2%. The Producer Price Index, a pipeline inflation measure, saw goose eggs across the board. Import prices were flat. The Federal Reserve's Preferred Personal Consumption Expenditures PCE Price Index came in slightly hotter than expected. Looking ahead, early estimates show little changes to the various inflation readings. In addition, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is obviously putting together poor reports, forcing economic observers to digest private sector readings. One of these is Trueflation. This is a running real-time inflation estimate that relies on millions of data points. It's showing that the annual inflation rate is coming in below the Fed's 2% target. Finally, jobs. Oh boy, the July jobs report will live in infamy. In addition to the July reading showing a smaller than expected 73,000 new jobs, the May and June figures were revised lower by 258,000.